This is class 7th history, chapter 3, Delhi 12th to 15th century. In chapter we have seen the reason why the Kavi Delta became the center of the last kingdom, the Red Chola. Did you notice that there was no mention of a kingdom with Delhi as its capital? That was because Delhi became the important city only in the 12th century. Delhi first became the capital of a kingdom under the Tomar Rajput who were defeated in the middle of the 12th century by the Chauhan. पहले तोमर थे, तोमर के बाद वहाँ पे चौहान, जिनको चौहान भी कहते हैं अजमेर. It was under the Tomar Zaman that Delhi became an important commercial center. Many rich Jain merchants selected Sultanate cities of Delhi 13th to 14th century. Jain merchants live in many rich Jain merchants they live in the city and constructed several temples here. The coins were minted here called Dehliwal had a wide circulation. इस टाइम पे यहाँ पे coin circulation में था जिसका नाम था Dehliwal. The transformation of Delhi into a capital that controlled the vast areas of the subcontinent started with the foundation of a Delhi Sultanate in the beginning of the 13th century. Identify the 5 dynasties that together made the दिल्ली सल्तनत. अब ये देखो, ये है फिरोजाबाद, फिरोज शाह कोटला, कोर्स ऑफ ओल्ड रिवर यमुना, दिस इज हौज खास, सिरी जहाँपना, ये है आपका हौज खास के नीचे है सिरी के नीचे है जहाँपना के नीचे है कुतुब मीनार और दिल्ली कुना, हौज सुल्तानी, दिस इज तुगलकाबाद, आदिलाबाद. The Delhi Sultanate built many cities in the area that we now known as Delhi and locate Delhi Guna, Siri and Jahanpana. Delhi Guna. The rulers of Delhi. सबसे पहले आपके देखा जाए तो तोमर थे 1130 से 1145 तक, अनंगपाल, ठीक है. फिर उसके बाद फिर 1165 से लेकर 1192 में आते हैं चौहान के बाद आता है पृथ्वीराज चौहान 1175 से 1192. तो पृथ्वीराज चौहान के पहले चौहान थे बहुत सारे 1165 से लेकर 1192. अली टर्किश रूलर की बात करें तो 1206 से 1210 कुतुबुद्दीन ऐबक थे. फिर 1236 तक शमसुद्दीन इल्तुतमिश. फिर 1237 से 40 तक रजिया. 1266 से 1287 गियासुद्दीन बलबन. फिर आते हैं 1290 से 1320 जलालुद्दीन खिलजी, दैट इज 1290 से 96. फिर 1296 से 1316 अलाउद्दीन खिलजी. 1320 से 1324 गियासुद्दीन तुगलक. 1324 से 1351 मोहम्मद तुगलक एंड 1351 से 1388 फिरोज शाह तुगलक. फिर आते हैं 1414 से, बीच में थोड़े से इनके 1414 से 1421 सैयद डिनास्टी के खिजर खान. उसके बाद फिर आते हैं बहलूल लोदी 1451 से 1489. Understanding the Delhi after the Sultan. Histories are known as Tariq in Persian, the language of the administration of the Delhi Sultan. Histories are known as Tariq or Tawariq. The authors of the Tawariq were learned men, secretary, each administrators, poets, and the courtiers who both recorded even and advised the ruler who on governance, emphasizing the importance of the just rule. The circle of justice. Fakr-e-Mudabir wrote in the 13th century, a king cannot survive without soldiers and soldiers cannot live without salaries. Salaries come from the revenue collected from peasants, but peasants can pay revenue only when they are prosperous and happy. This happens when the king promotes the justice and the honest governance. Keep the following traditional birthright. Privilege claim on account of the birth. For example, people believe that nobles inherited their right to govern because they were born in certain family. Gender distinction, social and biological differences between the women and men. Usually the differences are used to argue that men are superior to women. Keep the following additional details in mind. That is, the authors of the Tawariq lived in the cities mainly Delhi and hardly ever in village. They often wrote their histories for sultans in the hope of rich reward. The author advised the rulers on the need to preserve an ideal social order based on the birthright and gender distinction. The ideas were not shared by everybody. In 1326 में Sultan Iltutmish's daughter Razia became Sultan. The chronicles of the age Minhaj-e-Siraj recognized that she was more able and qualified than all her brothers, but he was not comfortable at having a queen as ruler. Nor were the nobles happy at her attempt to rule independently. She was removed from the throne in 1240. उसके बाद फिर आता है when Minhaj-e-Siraj thought about Raja. Minhaj-e-Siraj thought that the queen's rule went against the ideal social order created by the god, in which the women were asked to be subordinate to men. He therefore asked in the register of God's creation, since her account did not fall under the column of men, how did she gain from all of her excellent qualities? On her inscription and coin, here Razia mentioned that she was the daughter of Sultan Iltutmish. This was in contrast to the queen Rudrama Devi, 1262 originator of the Kakatiya dynasty of Warangal, part of modern Andhra Pradesh. Rudrama Devi changed her name on her inscription and pretended she was a man. Another queen, Didda, ruled in Kashmir. Didda. Her title is interesting. It comes from Didi or elder sister, and obviously affectionate term given by a loved ruler by her subject. तो दिद्दा हो गया, रुद्रमा देवी, काकाटिया आंध्र प्रदेश और रजिया सुल्तान. A closer look: administration under the Khalji and Tughlaq. The consolidation of the kingdom as vast as the Delhi Sultan needed reliable governors and administrator. Rather than appointing aristocrats and landed chieftains as governor, the early Delhi Sultan, especially Ultmas, favored their special slaves purchased for military service and bandagan called bandagan. Slaves को military service के लिए bandagan कहते थे. They were carefully trained to man some of the most important political offices in the kingdom. Since they were totally dependent upon their masters, the Sultan could trust and rely upon them. Slaves rather than son. A sultan was advised: a slave whom one has brought up and promoted must be looked after, for it needs a whole lifetime and good luck to find a worthy and experienced slave. Wise men have said that a worthy and experienced slave is better than a son. The client, someone who is under the protection of another, a dependent or hangover. The Khaljis as well as the Tughlaq, they continued to use bandagan and also raise people of humble birth who were often their client to high political position. Humble birth who were often their client to high political position. They were appointed as generals and governors. However, this also instituted an element of political instability. Slaves and clients were loyal to their They were loyal to their masters and patron, but not to their heirs. Sultans had their own servant. As a result, the accession of a new monarch often saw conflict between the old and the new nobility. The patronage of these humble people by the Delhi Sultan also shocked many elites and the authors of Persian Tawari decided the Delhi Sultan for appointing the low and the base born to high offices. Officers of Sultan Muhammad Tughlaq. Sultan Muhammad Tughlaq appointed Aziz Kumar, he was a wine distiller, Firoz Hazam, a barber, Manka Tabbak, a cook, and two gardener, Ladha and Pira to high administrative posts. Jauddin Rani, a mid-14th century chronicle, reported their appointment as a sign of Sultan's loss of political judgment and his incapacity to rule. Lack of political judgment and his incapacity to rule. Aziz Kumar, Firoz Hazam, Manka Tabbak, Lada and Pira. Okay. Like the earlier Sultan, the Khalji and the Tughlaq monarch appointed military commanders as governors of the territories of varying sizes. These lands were called Ikta and their holder was called as Iktadar or Mukti. The duty of the Muktis was to lead the military campaign and maintain law and order in their ठीक है. लैंड वॉज कॉल्ड इक्ता, होल्डर को इक्तादार या मुक्ति कहते थे, जो लीड मिलिट्री कैंपेन, मेंटेन लॉ एंड ऑर्डर इन देयर इक्तास इन एक्सचेंज ऑफ फॉर द मिलिट्री सर्विस. द मुक्तिस कलेक्टेड द रेवेन्यू ऑफ द असाइनमेंट एज सैलरी. दे ऑल्सो पेड देयर सोल्जर्स फ्रॉम दीज रेवेन्यू. कंट्रोल ओवर मुक्तिस वॉज मोस्ट effective if their office was not inevitable and if they were assigned iktas for a short period of time before being shifted. These harsh conditions of service were rigorously imposed during the reign of Alauddin Khilji Muhammad Tughlaq. A council were appointed by the state to check the amount of revenue collected by the muktis. Care was taken and the mukti collected only the taxes prescribed by the state and that he kept the required number of the soldiers. As the Delhi Sultan brought the intel land of the cities under their control, they forced the landed chieftain Samantas, Stoke and rich landlord to accept their authority. Under Alauddin Khilji, the state brought the assessment and collection of land revenue under his own control. Assessment and collection. The right of the local chieftain to levy taxes was cancelled and they were also forced to pay taxes. The Sultan's administrator, they measured the land, kept careful account. Some of the old chieftain and landlords served the Sultanate. Old chieftain and landlord, they served the Sultan as revenue collector and assessor. There were three types of tax. On cultivation called kharaj, amounting to about 50% of the peasant produce, cattle pavita on house pavita. It is wanted to remember that a large part of the subcontinent remained outside the control of the Delhi Sultan. It was difficult to control distant provinces like Bengal from Delhi, and soon after annexing southern India, the entire region became independent. Soon after annexing southern India, entire region became independent. Even in the Ganges plain, there were forested areas that Sultanate forces could not penetrate. Local chieftains established their rule in these regions. Sometimes rulers like Alauddin Khilji and Muhammad Tughlaq could force their control in this area, but only for a short duration. Chieftain and their fortification. Ibn Battuta, he was a 14th century traveler from Morocco, Africa, explained that chieftains sometimes fortified themselves in mountain and rocky, uneven rugged places as well as in bamboo grove. In India, the bamboo is not hollow, it is big. Its several parts are so intertwined that even fire cannot affect them, and they are on the whole very strong. The chieftains live in these forests which serve them as rampart inside which are their cattle and their crop. There is also water for them within, that is the rainwater which collects there, and they cannot be subdued except by powerful armies who, entering these forests, cut down the bamboos with a specified prepared instrument. The Mongols under the Genghis Khan invaded Transoxiana in northeast Iran in 1219. Mongols, Genghis Khan, Transoxiana, northeast Iran In 1219, and the Delhi Sultanate faced their onslaught soon after. Mongol attacks on the Delhi Sultanate increased during the reign of Alauddin Khilji and early years of the Muhammad Tughlaq. This forced the two rulers to mobilize a last standing army in Delhi, which was a huge administrative challenge. The Sultanate in the 15th and the 16th century, you will notice that after the Tughlaq, the Sayyid and Alauddin dynasty ruled from Delhi and Agra until 1526. By then, Jaunpur, Bengal, Malwa, Gujarat, Rajasthan, and the entire South India had independent rulers who established flourishing state and prosperous capital. This was also the period which saw the emergence of the new ruling groups like Afghan and the Rajput. Some of the states established in this period were small but powerful and extremely well administered. Sher Shah started his career as a manager of a small territory for his uncle in Bihar and eventually challenged and defeated the Mughal Emperor Humayun. Sher Shah captured Delhi and established his own dynasty. Although the Sur dynasty ruled for only 15 years, he introduced administration that borrowed elements from Alauddin Khilji and made them more efficient. Sher Shah's administration became the model followed by the great Emperor Akbar 1556 when he converted the Mughal Empire. Thank you.